Hi, my name is Chow Gen from Flora on Occasion Flowers and Gifts. Mother's Day is coming, just less than 10 days. We'll have to start thinking about what we are going to bring to our mothers for Mother's Day. Of course, mothers don't expect anything, but it would be nice to bring her a bouquet of flowers or a pot of flowers. We are going to share some experience with you to help you and your mom to preserve the bouquet that you're going to bring to her, or the pot of flowers, make them last longer. Therefore, your mom will be happier. And of course, the spring is here. The spring bring a lot of colors and a lot of flowers for us to choose from. We are going to talk about first thing is a bouquet of cut flowers, how to preserve, how to look after to make the bouquet last longer. But if we are going to buy a bouquet for mom, this is what we normally get. They come like this. We are going to need a vase of clean water and some food. It already have food in there, but when you buy flowers, normally they come with a packet of food. Mix the food in the water. Just remember, read the instruction on the packet. It said 5 grams for half a liter. And you have to make sure you have at least half a liter of water, because if you have 5 grams, you're supposed to mix in with 500 milliliters, and you mix in with only a quarter of a liter, the food will be too strong in the water. It might kill your flowers because it's too strong. Just as well, if you don't have a lot of water, let's say you have only 1 flower to go into a little vase with a little bit of water, it's better to stay away from the food, because too strong food in the water will kill the flowers. Now, when you buy the flowers, remove the packet and remove all the leaves that will go in the water, because when you put the flower in the vase with water and the leaves soak and sit in the water, will make these leaves go bad and produce bacteria, and that bacteria in the water will kill the rest of the bouquet of flowers. We don't want that. So please make sure all the leaves on the bottom that go on the stem will be removed before you put in the water. Now, the second thing we're gonna share with you is, pretend you buy flowers and they are not like this. Then you have to arrange the flower yourself. Or maybe you're not happy with the way they come. You can arrange it the way you like it to look like. So just a few quick tips to let you know that when you arrange the flowers, just remember always cut the stem before you insert into the water, like that. And of course, when you get some greenery, you put them in first, like so. And then when you get some baby breath, put it in first, cut the stem, put it in the middle. Now, when you have a flower that's many bloom on the stem, you can put them in first. I tell you why. Because when you put this stem of several bloom in first, it's have a sort of like a foundation, so you can add the other flowers, they stay in one spot. And remember to cut the stem. Like that. And then you have two more kind of flower here. You have Gerberas. It's almost the second biggest flower in this bouquet. So you can put the Gerbera in between the other flowers like that. Remember, when you put the flower into the vase, to make them open up and look forward, you insert in an angle like that. I will put this orange one between the yellow and the lavender. Insert in an angle always. And we have another one. We'll do the same thing. We cut and we put in between the flowers in an angle, of course. And then we have the last three flowers, the three carnations. I think that I want to put this purple one in there because the color different will show the flower more and it looks more interesting. Now this white and the yellow is sort of soft color, so I'll put the pink carnation in between them to give the different colors and texture. And the last thing, this orange Gerbera and the lavender lily, daisy, we'll put the carnation red in this, that way, and of course in an angle. That way we see all the flowers. That is the basic to arrange a bouquet. Now one more thing, this is done arranging a bouquet in the waters, but the next thing we're going to talk about is very important. That is to make the bouquet last longer, because you put them in the water already, they are drinking with food, they will open, they will last. But one thing a lot of people don't know, that after 3 days the stem, the sap from the stem go down. If you look after 3 days, you will see the stem looks like it had the little slimy substance on the end of each stem, and that is the sap from the stem go down and block most of the ability to drink from your flower stem. So after 3 days, if you change the water, rinse off the vase, and cut the stem about half an inch each stem, the flower will last much longer. Then your mom will be happier. Now that is to look after the bouquet. We are going to do next potted flowers. There's so many kinds, and orchids is very popular. A lot of people like orchid. This is Phalaenopsis orchid, one of the most popular orchids in Canada. Why? Because they are growing them here in Ontario, in the greenhouses. They are already trained to live indoor with us, and they last a long time. And we Vietnamese people, we like them just like everybody else in the world. Now I'm going to share with you how to make them, how to select them, how to keep them healthy, and to make them last as long as possible. So when you buy orchid, you should look for the kind that have the flowers are very fresh and a lot of buds on them, and make sure the buds are very fresh and green, not dried out. When you buy an orchid that have a lot of buds like this, they will last a long time. with your care for properly, they might last for many months, which is very pleasant. Now, that is how to pick the orchid. They come in many colors, so you have a lot to choose from. Now, to look after them, because orchids live in the forest originally, they live off the rotten bark of trees under the shade, and they live off dropping from birds and from dead insects. Now, we have them in the house. We don't have any of that to give to the orchid. So you can buy orchid food and follow the direction and feed them just like you would feed plant food for any other plant that you have in the house. Just remember, orchid food will make the orchids healthy, and they might produce more flower after. Next thing we'll talk about is the moisture for the orchid. Orchids love the moisture. They always like to be wet, but not sitting in water. They originally in the jungle, so they live off moisture from overnight, from the morning dew, from rain, all that. But when they're in your house, you have to think about how to keep them moist all the time. We're here at Flora all occasion. We take care of them this way, and I will share with you, hoping that it will help you to take care of your orchid, make them last longer. Every 3 days, you fill up the pot with water. Prefer temperature water, or a little bit warm water is good, because when you have warm water or room temperature, the water will soak into the bits of wood that the orchid plant live on. They don't live in soil. They live off the pieces of wood chip. So the wood chip, if you pour the water on it, it's gonna run out, and the wood just wet outside a little bit, and it doesn't hold the moisture. So you have to soak the whole thing for a few hours, and no more than overnight. And after that, you just lip it off, tip the water away, and put it back in there. Now, I said 3 days because from our experience here, we look after our orchids for sale, and that's how we look after, and it seems all right with the normal temperature in our indoor environment. If your house, sometimes people like very warm, then you might look at that in a different way. Because if your house is cool, that means things like orchids and root and all the plants will keep the moisture longer. But if your house is warmer, very warm, then the plant will lose moisture faster. So keep an eye out for them and check on them for the first few days to see how your plant is doing. If you see after, let's say after 2 days, and you see all the wood chip dried out, then by all means soak them. Don't wait for 3 days. And if your house is cool, that means your environment for the orchid has contain moisture longer, then you don't have to soak them as often. But if you soak them only for a couple hours or so, you can't kill the orchid, because like I said, they love moisture. But they don't like to sit in the water because the root can rot and the plant can die. But remember, if you have the orchid very dry, the sign you see it at the bud gonna don't open, dry out and fall out. That is so sad. So please don't let that happen. So that's about the orchids. Now we can discuss about other flowers, because not everybody wants to buy orchids. There are many choices. This is the springtime. Why not a pot of spring bulbs? They come like this, a little bit of everything. We have tulips, we have hyacinth to give the fragrance, we have daffodil to give the colors, and best of all, after the flowers are all gone, Mom can dig a hole in the garden and put this down on the ground, and many years after they will come back exactly the same thing every spring, and that is very nice. Mom will remember you every spring after to see this whole arrangement grow in her garden. We also have indoor flowering plants like alancho, like begonia, like African violets. Each of them will need a little bit different way of looking after. Calancho is one of the most popular indoor plants all year round in Canada, Ontario. If you feel them, the leaf is thicker than normal. That means the leaves contain moisture, a lot of moisture. Therefore, this plant doesn't like to be wet too much. They will survive dryness better than wetness. So, when you buy the calancho for mother, they come like this, but you have to put in a basket or some kind of container to make them look nicer. And also, they don't, when you water them, they don't spill out on the table. So, you will check out the moisture of the plant by looking in the soil. First thing, you see the soil look dry, but you never know. Put your finger inside the soil for about an inch, and if you feel it's still moist there, don't water it yet. Wait until you put your finger in and feel really dry, then you should water it all over and let it drain out, and please don't have the plant sit in the water. When the flowers are all finished, let's say, you pinch it down to the end of the stem, of the flower stem, and they will grow out the flower again all year round. So this is a very good plant. They come in pink, hot pink, orange, red, yellow, white. They come in different sizes as well. This is the 6-inch. You can also buy them in the 4-inch. Same size with this African violet that we are going to talk about it next. As again, this is, I would say, African violet is most loved indoor plant in Canada. We can't have enough of this. We sell them every day, and they come in so many shades, so many colors, and they're so easy to look after. They're also very easy to grow another one too. You just break off a leaf. If you want to grow another African violet, you break off a leaf, insert into moist soil, they will grow another plant for you. So how to look after African violet? A little bit different. You don't water on over like you water the calancho. You take it, let's say, if you see the soil very dry, then you add water into the basket bottom or any container that this plant sits. Just add water in there and put the plant back in the plant will drink the water from the bottom up, and that is the best way to look after African violet. And again, when the flowers are all dead, you pin the flower stem down to the end, and they will grow more flower all year round inside your house. It's a very nice plant. The next one we talk about is the begonia. Begonia do best in the heat. They love the heat and they love the sunshine. Now, they're not a very expensive plants like orchids, but they have a lot of flowers. They come from the greenhouse like this. They're growing in greenhouses all over Canada. They don't have very thick leaves, but because they are tropical plants, they like to be very warm and they don't like to be too wet. So with this plant, best to keep them very dry than water it thoroughly. Now, another thing I would like to share with you is begonia is one of the edible flowers, but please don't eat them when you buy them. When you buy them, just look at them, enjoy them, and when they die, they grow the second set of flowers. You can enjoy them by adding them in salad, or you can just eat them like that, like I used to do when I was a little girl. It was one of my favorite flowers. That when I was a little girl, I eat a lot of flowers, including begonias, pansies, roses, a lot of fun. So that is another part of flowers that you might, there's so many more part of flowers. Just remember, most of them are indoor tropical plants. So they're pretty much the same way to look after as begonia or calancho or African violet. Of course, this one is a little bit special because they're only in the spring. Very much longer, they won't be available. But that's okay. After they are gone, you plant them, you have them again next year. Now, we also would like to share with you about our indoor plants. Like this one, the Fabacia. This is one of the favorite indoor plants that we all have, because plant is really something that everybody should have, because they are good for the environment. They filter the air, they detox our air as well, and also there's something alive growing in our living environment, which is very peaceful. Talking about indoor plants, we all know that they all sometimes get bugs. So to protect our plant, we all have to have something to take care of our plant. This is end-ons, that means they kill all kind of bugs, the most popular bugs indoor for our plant. You buy them, you can buy them already pre-mixed and just spray on your plant according to the instruction, or you can buy them concentrated and use a spray bottle mixing with water. We buy the concentrate because we have a lot of plants here, and you never know. It's not that your house has bugs, it is the bugs that come from possible any way that you can imagine. For example, you went shopping in a shopping mall and walk by a plant that had bugs that you would never know, and that bug will cling onto your clothes and you carry that bug home, and that's how most of the time your house plant get bugs. To prepare your house plant to go out after Mother's Day, which is most of us do, excuse me, you will need to maybe thinking about repot them, make them into a bigger pot, because when you bring them outside, they will grow much faster than inside. Therefore, you will need a bigger pot. Also, you might think about a safe way to bring your indoor plant outdoor, because the indoor plants are so used to the long winter inside the house, they are not used to the outdoor environment, the weather, the wind, the sun. So please keep in mind, you don't want to shock them. So when you bring them outside, train them a little bit at a time. Bring the plant outside, but keep them under the patio for a few hours and bring them back inside. And then to train it like that, a little bit at a time. Every day you bring them out and you leave them for a few hours. You bring them back in for a few days. Then you can bring them out and leave them overnight, all day, every day. But don't just leave them under the sun, full sun right away, because they will be dead. They're not used to it. The leaf will be burned, the wind will just ruin them. So please keep in mind, it's a good thing to bring them outside, because they will get new leaf, new growth, grow faster, get a lot of sun. They will be healthier, but you have to train them first. Please remember that. We are going to show you how to prepare your plant to go outside. After Mother's Day, you can bring some plant outside, like this one is the calamondin. I'm going to share with you some tips how to trim this plant a little bit to encourage the plant to grow new growth. Therefore, when they grow new growth, they will produce more flowers, then the flower produce fruit. For example, indoor plants outgrow over the winter, and you can see when the shoot that come out, they don't look normal. They look kind of deformed a little bit, or too big leaves. Those are the signs that you should look for to trim them, to make your plant healthier. So start with some of the branches that's like too long, the leaves don't look healthy, don't look normal, or too big. You just trim them a little bit like that. Here it is. You can cut it down to the end a little bit like that to produce right here. It's gonna grow new growth, and there will be flowers. And you can trim as much as you want to make it smaller. And over the summer, they will produce more new growth, which is the plant will be much healthier. And you get more flowers, of course, there will be more fruit. Like in this case, this is the calamondin. Calamondin is a very good fruit. They're a little bit sour, but they're fragrant. The flavor is unbelievable. They're between the limes and I would say between the lime and the mandarin. And they're good for slicing them and put them in drink like tea or alcohol drink. So remember, when you trim them, wherever you trim, they will grow new ones. They grow properly more. And don't forget to give them some food. Like this one, you can see it's way overgrown. So you cut them right there. This one will grow new fruit. Very nice. So many of them outgrown like that. You can see the leaves. This is not, doesn't have flowers, doesn't have any new growth. Yeah. So you can just trim a little bit at a time until the plant look like, you know, just like you go get a haircut. Same idea. The new hair will be healthier. I think that's pretty much ready for new grow outdoor happy plant. You'll have more flowers and have more fruit. So have a happy Mother's Day. Make your mom happy. I'm sure I will be happy as a mother. I have 3 children and they don't bring me flowers, but they will be seeing me for Mother's Day and helping me. So I'm already a happy mom. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful spring.